Hey, it's Marty, and this is our final podcast episode of the year. On behalf of Brian, Liz, and the entire team, we want to thank you, every one of you, for your incredible support throughout 2024. It has been a joy to share this journey with you, and we're excited to return with brand new episodes starting January 6th, 2025. Until then, we wish you a very Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year. May your holidays be filled with love, joy, and plenty of great memories. Thank you for being a part of our podcast family. If you're missing us a little bit, we've got over 750 episodes in the back catalog. What a great time to catch up on any that you've missed. And we will see you in the new year.
You're now listening to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. Straightforward, no nonsense business advice. Completely unfiltered. Grow your business. Grow your life. Now, here's your host, Brian Fullerton.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. It is your host, Brian Fullerton, here, hanging with you guys. Hey, good morning. Today's podcast episode, I want to do something a little bit different, kind of change it up. All I've been doing has been super intense on the podcast, going hard in the paint, giving you guys the sauce, right? That whole deal. Wanted to kind of change up a little bit today to something that was super funny that happened yesterday. Long story short, we are moved into our house. Praise the Lord. We actually set up trash service, a trash collection service. I know, like, wow, how stellar, what a breakthrough, right? But it's cool. It's like all first homeowner things. Some of you guys did this 10, 20 years ago. I never, and my wife and I, we never have owned a home. Like, literally, we've been apartment people for 10, 12 years. And I can do a forever talk on delayed gratification. But anyway, now that we're moved into the home, we had to enlist a trash service, right? And so we went with a local vendor, nothing super crazy. But what actually turned into was a funny situation about, like, how do I actually get the trash to the curb? Now, funny story here. I'm going to do a little David Letterman top 10 list. And for any of you guys that are like under 27, 28, maybe 30, you probably have no idea who David Letterman is. If you're over 30, you already know. He was a late night comedy show, I think host of the late night, right? Like back in the day.
From the heart of Broadway, broadcasting across the nation and around the world, it's The Late Show with David Letterman.
To be honest, I was a little bit more on the tail end of even my generation and my age group, but I do know who David Letterman is. I've watched him on TV, and actually, funny story, and the stuff that just sticks with you, right? I don't even understand this, but when my mom used to drive us to school, because we were coming from the trailer park, and the bus system the first year or two of our high school did not reach the trailer park. It was like right on the outskirts of town. We would have went to a different school district. We did not want to go to a different school district when we moved out of the apartment in downtown Milford, Michigan, to our trailer park on the outskirts of Milford. We would have been going to the different school district. Well, my brother and I, we didn't want to go to the different school district because we had been, having all of our core friends for 8, 9, 10 years, right? Through elementary, middle, and now high school. And so my mom ended up driving us in the morning to school, and then we usually found rides on the way back. Well, for whatever reason, things that stick with you 20 years later, I remember driving along in the car, on the way to school and, just being a family, right? Doing whatever we were doing. But I remember, and I don't know if it was like 950 local radio or who knows what, but I remember in some way, shape, or form always hearing the David Letterman top 10 lists on whatever the topic was that day. And it'd be this like drum roll and a little band playing here. So I thought we'd reenact that here today.
A top 10 M&M pieces of advice for the kids. M&M pieces of advice for the kids. Knows a lot about life, had a great deal of success. Who would know more about pieces of advice for kids than M&M?
And it's going to be related to, what do I do about getting my trash bins to the curb? And so I have this like 200-foot kind of driveway now that I'd never anticipated walking a trash bin up and down. I mean, I don't know. And so I put an Instagram story out there yesterday showing how miserable it was for me to carry, a box full of box waste, Amazon boxes and all that mess. And then two of the, 20, 30, 40, 50 gallon, whatever, big gray trash bins. You guys have them. They're in every subdivision in America, for crying out loud. Okay. And so I remember having them dropped off, I think on last Friday or Monday. And then they stood at the end of the driveway for a couple of days because I'm just not walking 200 yards to go get them. And then when I went to go get them, because I didn't want to be that guy forever leaving your trash bins at the curb, I went to go get them and rolled them all the way up. And I immediately already decided this isn't going to be for me. I need to figure out a way to get this motorized, add an engine, put them on a pallet with a tractor, and then go on down, drop them off. Listen, I know, hang out with me here for a quick minute. This is like real world problems, okay? So I brought them into the trash. We loaded up like 20 bags of trash for something that fits like 10 because we haven't had trash service because we got rid of our big 20-yard dumpster up front, which I'm kind of regretting not getting another one or a 30-yarder because it seems like we have endless trash and stuff that we're purging and or boxes as we're putting furniture together, right? Like that whole deal. And so anyway, then I take the trash to the curb, right, for our first trash day. And I'm like, this is miserable and I don't want to do this at all. And so I put an Instagram message out there saying, hey, does anybody have any suggestions on how you make this easier? Because if I got to wheel a car up and down 200 feet or 100 yards, like that is not fun, especially if the wife has to do it, right? Because I'm going to be working, doing the deal. And so I know this sounds really first world problems, but we're going to do this. We're going to hear from today's show sponsors, then we're going to come back and we're going to keep this episode tight. I'm going to do a little David Letterman top 10 list of the things that you guys suggested about how to get my trash bins to the curb. And so hopefully Mr. Producer can do a little editing, maybe a little drum roll here. We'll spruce it up. We'll make it fun. This is what you get. They say you get what you pay for. Well, you don't pay much for the podcast, if you know what I mean. So if you don't like this episode, hey, maybe change the track and the next one might be better. But that's what we're going to do today. All right. Let's do this really quick before we get into our top 10 list. This is such a terrible idea. By the time we're done, I want you guys to vote in a poll. What's worse, my top 10 list, David Letterman style, or the industry reports by Caleb Allman? Caleb Allman on the Kid Contractor podcast. Okay. Maybe we'll do a poll on IG, which is a worse idea to include on a podcast. Okay. Before we jump into it, let's do this. We'll kick it over to Mr. Producer. We're going to hear from today's show sponsors and announcements. If you guys didn't hear on the last episode, he did a funny plug with Mr. Santa Claus.
Bold 3 detergent plus fabric softener. Spray relief.
Ho, ho, ho. It's the fat guy. No, not Marty, but Chris. Chris Kringle reminding you to use the code SAVE400 to save $400 on the whole ball of wax at the Lawntrepreneur Academy. It's our way of saving you some Christmas cash during the holidays. If you've been good, use code SAVE400 now. If you've been bad, you can pay full retail. Now back to regularly scheduled programming.
Call toll free.
It's $400 off with promo code SAVE400. I just want to mention that really quick. That is going to be until Christmas Day. So you got about less than a week to claim that if you guys want to save $400 on the whole ball of wax. And we got some great resources coming in 2025 for sure, including a salt training program for a lot of you guys. So if you're part of the whole ball of wax, you get lifetime updates, lifetime upgrades. We do appreciate you guys investing into what we do. Of course, you can always purchase our contracts, documents, resources, postcard designs, take those over to Postcard Mania, right, et cetera, to get your spring mailers ready to go. That's the number one way you guys can support what we're doing with the podcast. And I don't take it for granted. So thank you guys in advance if you do scoop that up. If you already have scooped it up, thank you for investing into what we do. And that's why we have so much fun being able to bring this content to you guys Monday, Wednesday, Friday on the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast and the Brian's Not Maintenance YouTube channel. All right, that being said, let's kick it over to Mr. Producer. We'll hear from the rest of today's show sponsors and announcements. And then we're going to come on back and do a David Letterman style top 10 list about what do we do with our trash bins. Hang tight.
We wanted to take a quick minute to introduce you to some exciting news from LMN. They've recently announced new tiers and pricing for their world-class software, making it more accessible for companies on the grow. LMN Starter is only $297 a month and provides all the essential tools you need to grow. From building your company budget to taking control of your estimating, streamlining your invoicing, and taking the guesswork out of how to price your work, LMN is here to help create a predictable and profitable business. If you're running revenues from $250,000 to $500,000 or more, then it's time to invest in software to meet your growing business needs that was designed by landscapers for landscapers. Mention code Brian when you sign up to receive the white glove, one-on-one onboarding experience and lock in the best pricing available. Take control of your future today with LMN.
All right, guys, well, let's jump on into it here. And I played that to YouTube the other night and heard a little throwback of the David Letterman video clips. I watched a couple 2 or 3 minute long clips from the late night show and whatnot from back in the day. Because it's been 25 years since I have been, I'm getting so old, bro. It's been 20 years since I've been in the car with my mom in the morning going to school. And the funny story is, I think school started back in the day at high school at 7:20 a.m. or 6:50 a.m., something like that, something ridiculous, talking about getting you ready to be a cog in a wheel of a Prussian style of education to get you ready to be a foot soldier in the industrial complex, right? That got heavy quick. Another podcast for another time. But nothing like getting a 17-year-old kid to school at 6:50 or 7:20 in the morning. For the love of God, that's what your body wants to do at that age, right? But I do remember the top 10 list was always at 7:18. And so we would literally be parked curbside, ready to hop out, go to the front gate at the school. And we would all just kind of huddle in the car, listen to the top 10 list. Half the time I didn't know the jokes or just didn't get pop culture back then. And but nonetheless, we would listen to the top 10 list and then run into school and be exactly 1 minute late to first period, which is always funny. So I do remember these lists back in the day. It's been a while. So let's do this. I'm going to do my best to rip through these.
Ladies and gentlemen, here now is our top 10 list from the home office in Sioux City, Iowa.
This is all your guys' submissions. And here's the macro. It involves all of you guys spending my money. Spends my money, all right? So let's do this. Top 10 things that we need to invest in to get our trash bins to the curb. A Cat 908 with a 13.5-foot Arctic sectional. Okay, sure, absolutely. A Bobcat T77, I think it was, skid steer. Okay, so we're going to spend, $200,000 on the loader or $80,000 on the Bobcat to get our trash bins curbside. Next up, drum roll. A four-wheeler, new Polaris XP 1000. That way I can roll the trash cans down to the end of the driveway. So if I spend $15,000 on a four-wheeler, I can now get my trash bins to the end of the driveway. Love it. Great idea. Let's go. Next one. A Can-Am Defender. I don't even know what that is. I think that's another side-by-side, but for some reason, if we buy a $40,000 Can-Am Defender, we'll be able to now get our trash bins to the curb. This is how you guys all think. This is exactly how I think, and this is why we're all so much in trouble, right? So why we all buy good toys and we have no savings accounts, right? Just kidding, sort of. All right, next one, drum roll. A golf cart. Everybody suggests that I buy a golf cart, and I do want to buy a golf cart. I'm torn between that and maybe a Ranger, right? And so a golf cart, yep, I do want to get one of those. Budgeted, you can spend $2,000 on a golf cart. You can spend $15,000 on a golf cart, but we'll go through that maybe later in the summer. Next up, a Kawasaki Mule. I think that was Josh Sutton. He said it's one of the best things he's bought for his property. It's not as glamorous as some of the other side-by-sides, but it gets the job done, and that's a workhorse for the property. A Kawasaki Mule. All right, next up, a Tesla. So take the Tesla, put the trash in the back of the hatch, and then when you take the trash, leave that thing at the curb with it. Somebody said, leave my Tesla at the corner with the trash bin, so the guy takes the Tesla too. It's terrible. Why are you pooping on my car, man? And frankly, I'll take the Tesla and trade it in right now for a Tahoe or a Suburban or an Escalade because I love it, but I'm done with it. We need more room. All right, let's keep going. Next up, a truck bed. Take the trash, put it in the truck bed, and get it down to the curb. See, that's a very logical approach. The problem, right, first world problem, is that the salters are in the back of all the trucks, so I can't get my trash bins curbside, okay, with the trash or the trash bins. All right, next up, drum roll.
That's your drum roll?
When a tempo isn't specified, any reasonable person would default to lento.
We have a Polaris Ranger 1000. That sounds good to me. That's the most practical approach is getting a home-based, UTV. Obviously, we're going to plow snow with it and make that a business expense, if you know what I mean. And we will get the luggage rack, kind of a little support rack. So I guess there's like this really cool angle iron, tube iron, if you will, tube top that you can just put on the back of like a 2-inch receiver, tilt your trash bins on it, and then you just roll them down to the end of the curb. I like that. That part's like $70 on Amazon. I was pricing that out last night. But to do that, I need a $20,000 Ranger to take it to the curb, obviously, right? And let's finish up with number 10. I should have been counting these down. Number 1, the number 1 way to get the trash bins to the curb per your guys' suggestion. Drum roll, please. Invest in a helicopter. Invest in a helicopter. I've been talking about wanting to get a helicopter one day. Let's say that's part of the 5, maybe 10-year plan. But if I can get a helicopter, I'll whistle and diesel it one day style with you guys and for you guys. And we will hook up a rig to get the trash bins to the end of the driveway with a helicopter. I think that was Lucas Blumling. So, all right, that's the top 10 list. This is my David Letterman style. Top 10 ways to get our trash bins to the curb. If you guys like this style of episode, maybe we can do another funny one, and I'll put an Instagram questionnaire thing, and you guys can submit your funny ways that we can approach things. I feel like this list has Tom Mag's name all over it with Mag's Landscape. Those guys are hilarious. This is his kind of humor, his kind of energy for sure. But anyway, that's what I got for my top 10 list. Hope you guys enjoy it. Hope you guys appreciate it. And I will give you guys the update, the follow-up on YouTube or Instagram about how we are now getting our trash bins to the curb with our first world problem. So thank you guys for your help. It's amazing what this industry and community can do for you. We'll help you grow in your business. We'll help you get your trash bins to the curb. And that's what this community is all about. So over and out, guys. Have a great rest of the day. Have a great weekend. We will catch up with all you guys here on the next one.
Before you turn off the podcast, there are 2 things that we believe you will be highly interested in. First, if you're looking to stay up to date with the latest trends and insights in the world of lawn care, then you'll want to subscribe to our free email newsletter. It shows up in your inbox 3 times a week and includes a Monday motivational to kick off your week, a Wednesday what's new to keep you informed, and a Friday weekly recap of all the content we put out. The second thing is we have just launched Lawntrepreneur Academy Link. Now you can be a part of an exclusive community that links you to those who can help you grow in your lawn care business. Joining Lawntrepreneur Link will give you the tools that you need to stay accountable, get real-time expert advice, and find belonging in a community of folks who are passionate about the lawn care industry just like you. Visit LawnTrepreneurAcademy.com to learn how Link membership gives you unique access to monthly hangouts, bidding hour calls, coaching calls, expert lessons, and more. Stay ahead of the curve and level up your business with a membership to the Lawntrepreneur Academy Link. Find an easy-to-use link in the podcast description.
Thanks for taking the time to listen to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast with Brian Fullerton. We hope you enjoyed this production. If so, please consider leaving us a 5-star review for the show. While the techniques and ideas presented here are designed to help you grow a more successful and profitable business, no one can guarantee these results for you. We want to emphasize that entrepreneurship is not easy, and the ideas presented here are just the opinions of Brian Fullerton and his respective guests. No one can guarantee success for you. That being said, we hope the ideas presented here help you and motivate you to go on out there and crush it with your own business.
Fullerton Unfiltered Podcast.
Thanks for listening, and we hope to see you on the next episode.
This has been a Brian Fullerton and Mr. Producer production.